And everybody's upset about the craziness of Doge coming in and cutting personnel. I don't get it. If you've ever dealt with a government office at all, you know what a pain in the fanny it is. I read yesterday. I read with great humor. Junior Samples will indulge these idiots for hours,
I'm going to stop opening this one. It seems every time I open up the CNN that we end up with problems with our.
We don't need CNN very often. There was a, what's it called? Crossroads Today put something on the interweb yesterday about, I don't know. They used a Tesla picture as if that has anything to do with anything in Victoria. And they were talking about, but the conversation below was people whining about our Social Security office closing. I've been married to Dawn for almost 8 years. And the only time that I've ever gone to the Social Security office was when she needed a new card because we had gotten married.
Yeah.
That's it. I'm 62 years old. I've been to the Social Security office once. People act as if. Same people will jump to go see an oncologist in Houston once a month for 10 years. But they won't jump in the car to go anywhere. And all of a sudden it turned into this office serves 9 counties. Well, you know what? Then start sending those counties invoices for that $25,000 a month rent for their convenience. And I know Victoria County doesn't pay that rent. That's not even the point.
Put the Social Security office in the post offices in those communities.
How convenient would that be?
They already own the buildings.
Now that's genius.
Westhoff, Social Security office.
That'd be a great spot. It could spur
and a post office.
It will have the same impact in economic development in Westhoff as spending $30 million at our community center will do for Victoria.
Yeah.
Same. Scott Tonko says, I've been there more than him. Now, I agree, and I don't know how this is going to shake out because I agree Victoria probably needs a Social Security office. I'm not against Social Security.
100,000 people in the county. I would think we need one. Absolutely.
But I don't think we need $25,000 a month rent. That's crazy. You know what you could buy for $25,000 a month?
Yeah, in 2 months you can buy yourself a nice new car.
A new car. Yeah, you could
with cash.
But that's
who's been getting rich off that one.
Some doctor owns the building, I've been told. Commander, can you find out who owns the local Social Security office, who the landlord is? And by the way, I don't fault him at all. If you can find a pigeon that's dumb enough to pay you that, take it. Take it.
BJ says, "Will the current employees drive to Westhoff?" I don't care. That's not my problem. They want to keep a job. They'll drive to Westhoff.
Solid point. She goes, they all worked from home for years, and many still do.
Well, apparently that's supposed to be changing too, right? Under the Trump administration.
You can't do that. That's against their civil rights. They shouldn't have to come back to the office.
But see, there's
how's your office?
Staffed?
Yeah, people are there, right?
Yeah.
Hey, you've got some space over there. Why don't you bring in the Social Security?
Sure, why not?
Se habla español. Bring them in. Stuart Martin says 75% of that rent probably goes to Victoria taxes. Stuart, you're such a negative.
I'm wondering if there's some sort of tax break for housing a federal office.
Scott Tomko looking for synergy. Put the Social Security office in a Dairy Queen. That's where old folks go to drink coffee.
David Ballard says he's been drawing Social Security for 4 years, never been to an office.
Amen.
All online.
Solid point, DB. No doubt.
Yeah.
By the way, I can't miss this opportunity to give you the unsolicited BC restaurant review. I ended up at the Dairy Queen over there on, I don't know what street that is. It's by the old Cameron Ironworks. It's right over there by my father-in-law's Victoria Farm Equipment.
Port Lavaca Highway.
Port Lavaca Highway. I ended up in there on Sunday. We had a a select ball baseball deal. There's probably 900 people within a 9-iron of that Dairy Queen. I walked in there at noon on Sunday. Now, you would think that noon on Sunday, whether it's folks coming from church or people coming, you could hear the rah right next door. Dawn waited in line for 10 minutes in part because they decided that Sunday at noon was a good time to train a new cashier. And bless her heart, she was a sweet girl.
It probably would have been had they known that there was something going on there they probably wouldn't have trained them.
You hear the crowd, you have the noise over there, you go, rah, that's what it sounded like. Yeah, this is what the Dairy Queen. Yeah, that's what it sounded like. So you're there, and it took 30 minutes after they got our order. We ordered 2 burgers so the boys could eat at the field. 30 minutes to get the 2 hamburgers. The orders were correct. But worst Dairy Queen on the planet. That's the worst one. I'm sorry. It's just the way it is. There you go. Tammy Keeling, school board member. What do you call that? Like president emeritus, school board member emeritus. Also an expert on pretty much everything. Property tax is based on estimated growth and revenue. That estimated percentage then goes to your local CAD, which has to be within a certain margin of that estimate. Zed has now learned that at CAD training. Well, we understand that. Yeah. The CAD
here's what's
CAD's a
interesting.
mess, though. It's not corrupt necessarily.
If it's based on estimated growth, this city and county hasn't grown in 30 years.
Yeah, it should be flat around here.
Exactly.
Yeah. It makes no sense to apply high demand places. I can build a house in Victoria for roughly the same price per square foot that I can build one in New Braunfels. Yeah. And see, that price per foot encompasses the lot as well. And the problem is the land in New Braunfels is worth 2 to 3 times as much as the land in Victoria. So somebody getting rich when they build you a house. Fact.
You know what's funny?
If they own the land. If they own the land.
Somehow I ended up with one of these cheap old houses subscription emails or
partial this old house.
Yeah, something like that. Anyway.
That's because you like Bob Ross and you probably like Bob Vila.
I did like Bob Vila.
Yeah, y'all are probably pretty close.
Well, they followed each other, right? One was on and then the other one was on.
Absolutely.
I think it was, I think it was The Joy of Painting and then this old house. But places in Ohio, Illinois, more rural Pennsylvania, parts of Wisconsin, if they would get smart with their taxes, they would probably be, because I mean, you could buy a house up there for $100,000 and it's a nice house, 2,000 plus square feet plus a basement. I mean, yeah, you're gonna live in the snow.
There's my friend Linda Christ. Having just built a house in the county, I can testify that what you say is correct.
And your husband's doing a lot of the work.
Right. And your husband's doing a lot of the work and it still costs a ton.
Yeah.
So the property for the Social Security office is owned by a family medicine doctor in Houston. Zapata is the last name.
Dr. Zapata owns. Yeah. Thank you, Cody. That's Commander Cody from Brand Us. And just like that, I mean, what did I ask him 3 minutes ago?
Yeah.
12.
This
one was a doozy.
He tracked that down. Dr. Zapata. Maybe we can get him on the air and go, hey, Doc, just out of curiosity, we're entrepreneurial, we're capitalist. How much money you made off that building, bro?
How many federal offices does he own in Houston that he's renting out?
Maybe we move the show over there.
Yeah, we can make that Wade and Carter Tower.
$500 a month. Throw it.
Yeah, it's a 1-story building. We'll call it Wade and Carter Tower.
There you go. It'll be empty.
Semantics work. Tammy Keeling says state average growth. So if the estimate for the state is 14%, then you see 7% for each year of the biennium.
So we get the chorizo in Victoria because our leaders over time have not saw any reason to try to grow this community to keep up with the tax rate.
Right.
Yeah. Commander bringing value, as Scott Tomko says. Absolutely. So
first time.
First time, long time.
If I keep the bar low, you don't expect much.
You know, that's my dad always told me. He said, son,
look, our guest was at the UH St. Thomas game last night in Houston.
Oh,
we beat St. Thomas.
He hasn't called me yet.
There he is.
My dad always said, when Dawn asks you to do something,
let's chill.
He goes, make sure that you mess it up the first time. And then there's a chance she won't ask you to do it again.
That's what I strive for here at the show.
Just drop the ball the first time. Yeah. Stuart Martin says, first Social Security talk. Now Bob Ross and Bob Vila. Next up, sit and be fit. Ash has one of those little, first of all, he's got that like donut cushion for his seat. And then he's also got that little pedal deal that you keep below your desk. Yeah, he pedals. Look at there, coming in hot.
Yeah.
There's our guy.
Jonathan Williams, the Wade and Carter World Headquarters. We need to take a break first.
Push that up and tell him just to hang on. Boss man, you there?
I'm here.
Can you
All
give us a
right,
minute
awesome.
to take a quick break? Well,
Yeah, you go ahead.
okay.
I need some more coffee.
All right,
Hey,
sounds good.
I know you're Canadian. Do you want to apologize for anything? Hang on. I'm sorry. I'm sorry I called so early. Hang on one sec, boss.
Tubco says we just need insurers as a
Folks,
sponsor.
Dollar
And
Floor
Metamucil
Store,
will be good.
right? We do need it. Yes, absolutely. Life insurance and some Metamucil.
Iron supplements,
Brought to you by Viagra.
vitamin C and zinc,
Dollar Floor Store for all your flooring needs.
Viagra C.
Trust us, Viagra C. I'm cutting mine. Anyway, get into the Dollar Floor Store and enjoy all they've got. Here's what I do. You walk in, you look around, and you get a remodel idea. You're like, man, that would look good in my bathroom. I like
Yep.
that. I put
Yep.
down some purple shag in our bathroom.
Yep.
It's nice.
Love
Palace
shag in
Bingo
the
date.
bathrooms.
We will announce the date by Friday. Palace Bingo, where friends meet friends, but you don't have to wait. You can get out tonight and play bingo with the great folks at Palace Bingo and have a great meal. USA Concrete Coating, Charlie Garcia and his team,
578 home. Give them a call.
they do great work. Vera Cruz Restaurant today is
Caldo Wednesday.
get in because the caldo is great. I don't know, Leonida, it's hard to do. They're a staple, iconic restaurant, family owned and operated here in our community. It seems like lately they've even stepped up their game. They've got some young staff in there. Their service has always been great, but now it's even more
Wow,
attentive.
they're blowing and going on the catering side.
Yeah, they do great work. Always think of Vera Cruz for your catering needs. Allen's Wrecker Service, 578-6300. Allen is your go-to
Yeah.
to. No
And
reason to
so,
call anybody else.
No. First
Let's-
Aid Bank of Louise. Maybe we'll just call this.
We'll
the
call this the
Astros update.
Astros update.
Real quick. Jared McCurkin says Charlene Prickett. There was a morning workout show that was always on in Calgary on local TV, filmed locally. She was the one.
Was she wearing those white socks,
The
like,
leggings and the leg warmers.
yeah.
The whole 9 yards.
and,
It was
and
around
then
that whole
they
distance.
always did like where they were like on the ground, did the hip thrust
Yeah.
towards the camera.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the funny thing
soft
is,
porn.
my dad was onto something back then. If I would have been smart enough to realize that this would have been the precursor to reality TV, we're talking in the 80s. My dad was always like, why do they have thin people in there working out? They need fat, overweight people in there working out. And then we can see over time if this workout actually does you any good.
There you have it. Folks, we're joined now by our friend, proud to say it, Terrence Poole, Astros Hall of Famer.
Canadian Baseball Hall of Famer, Saskatchewan Baseball Hall of Famer.
Isn't that like automatic? If you're in the MLB Hall of Fame, aren't you already in the Canadian Hall of Fame? Like,
Should
even if
be.
you're from Venezuela, like that's Terry Poole. Of course, he's in our Hall of Fame. Me too, me too, me too. Every player must be believed. Sir, how are you?
Doing good. You guys are making me laugh here.
That's
what we're
our
trying to-
job. That's our
all
job.
we try to do these days. The world is in such a place. We just try to bring the comedic relief now.
Before we get into the serious side of the program, and there is a serious side, I'm fascinated with the experiment of bringing up 22-year-old Cam Smith, putting him out there in your right field. The kid's bat has obviously been hot. He's obviously marketable, good-looking kid. It kind of looks like Jeremy Pena 2.0 physically. And I'm sitting there watching this experiment. I think Jose Altuve has a new appreciation for left field. And I'm watching, and I'm thinking to myself, Terry Poole's like 60-something years old. But if he could still hit me a little 280 and I could put him out there and right, so we bounce out Brendan Thomas for a cutoff man. That's okay. Give me a two-hopper in there. And I'm thinking Terry might make a comeback. We'll give you the same 125 for 5 that we offered Tucker. Will you come back?
I've had my second hip replacement just recently, and so I'm actually just a shoulder away from going to spring training.
I'm like, man, put him
He's-
out there.
He shaved 2 seconds off his 60 with that second hit being done.
Exactly. I mean, we could even employ like with the Americans with Disabilities Act and all that, we could employ like a pinch runner. Like you just put it in play and we'll let Smith run for you.
Yeah, they just run from home plate. Yeah. Talking about Cam Smith, I hope that they just put him in and let him play and let him do it for what are it? 2 months. Just let him do it. Suck it up and stick with a young player one time.
Yes, sir.
And, I've seen it too many times that they don't, and the good players will eventually succeed, but it takes them sometimes a couple more years to do it. You know,
Yeah.
Tucker was like that, if you remember, when he
Yes.
first came up. They're in and out of the lineup, and then what was his name? Last year they traded him to Toronto, Leo Holt or whatever.
Oh yeah, the tall, dark-headed kid that we traded to Toronto. That's good. I
Yeah.
liked him.
That went with Wagner. Yeah, I mean he got a couple good hits, and then he was out of lineup for 2 days. You can't mess with a hitter's head like that. Now Cam Smith is walking into the locker room looking at the lineup card,
Right.
and so he's prepared. He's wondering all day long if he's going to be playing or not. And then if he gets there and he's not, then it's like, oh crap. And then so I just wish they just put him in and let him play. 'Cause I think his style of hitting is very unique. He doesn't load with his hands. He simply steps into the ball and uses his strength to hit. That's a very difficult way to hit. But if he can do it, he could be a tremendous hitter.
You know, I look at him and he has the same batting stance that Jeremy Pena used up until this year. Pena has apparently opened his stance a little, maybe in an effort to see the ball better. I'm sure you watched the game last
Was
night.
that La Profito we sent up there?
Yeah, La
That was?
Profito.
Yeah.
I would not have.
Yeah.
Who's a kid we brought up through our system, and then we traded him. I would not have wanted to bat off that sidearm. It looked like a Dennis Eckersley kid,
you're right.
throwing it 97 up there. You know, and TK said, "Oh, that was a slider." I don't know what it was. It came from the shortstop. You know.
Yeah, that's right.
Take us around the infield and outfield, and just give us your take on what you've seen so far. What do you make of Isaac Paredes?
Well, I like him. I think he's going to hit, especially with the Crawford boxes. He's pretty quick inside. He seems to be doing adequately at third base. He's not a Bregman at third base. Bregman is, he was a premier third baseman when he left, but and in the entire league, I think. But Paredes, I think will hit. I love the way he'll take the count to 2-2, 2-3, 2, almost every time he comes up there. He's a very big, and I'm going to say that about Alvarez. He's not going to hit like the young Alvarez we saw when he first came up if he expands his strike zone. And you have to learn to take your walks. Christian Walker's going to have to hit behind him.
Yes.
And then they're going to force to throw more strikes to Alvarez, and then Alvarez will hit like he hit from as a younger player here.
I absolutely tie Walker and Paredes together, and Ash and I have said here that the combination of Walker and Paredes, even with the give and take, is probably more productive and probably better in the field overall than the combination of Singleton and Bregman. You've got 2 8s on the field instead of a 4 and a 10 is kind of my take on it. And I hope I'm right.
I'm not a fan of Singleton. I just don't like the style of play it is. Just too below average at everything. To think that he's a great player, the way he comes across. You don't need that on a team. You need a chemistry of players that are doing one thing, and that is trying to get into the playoffs. And I just didn't see that. Quite honestly, I'm not saying DeCenzo's the answer over there. He's going to have to hit too, and he's going to have to shorten his swing. If he thinks he's going to hit in the big leagues with that long swing, you can forget it right now.
Yeah.
That's not happening. Major League pitching will eat you up, and that's the problem. You talked about a closed stance. How about McCormick's closed stance?
Yeah, I don't know what he's trying to do.
I mean, I don't. He can only attack like half the plate. That's all he can do.
He's always made the comment. McCormick has always said, when I've got it going, when I'm hitting well, I'm driving the ball to the opposite field. He goes, when you see,
but does that happen every 2 years?
Yes, and by the way,
With
that's
him,
all
yes.
he can do now. That
We
really,
don't have that kind of time. We don't have that many at bats for him.
that's right.
And a closed stance typically doesn't get it to the opposite field in theory.
We love. I mean, I love to listen to you talk, especially hear you talk about hitting. But I think our fans, our listeners, and friends are getting an idea of there's another level when you start peeling back what's going on at the plate. I would love to sit and watch a game with Terry off the air. You just on. You see that guy. That guy. I would throw that guy inside. He's got no chance. And he'd be right because he's just seen it for right now 74 seasons. Terry Poole, counting the
come on now.
the Venezuelan League, counting the Venezuelan League. Did you ever go down anywhere in the off season to play?
Yeah, I did Venezuela after my first year in the big leagues. I went down to Barquisimeto, and played down there one winter, and actually through Christmas and New Year's. I'll tell you what, that was one of the most tough Christmases I've ever been through. It's like no family, no nothing, and you're on the other side of the world.
Just tequila and fastballs, tequila and fastballs. I know.
I think it might be rum down there.
Right.
Hey, let's shift gears because long term, can Jose Altuve stay in left field, knowing what they're paying him? He's obviously not where he was as a second baseman. His bat still brings some value, but how do you? I mean, if he makes somewhat of an adjustment this year, but how do you justify this long term? Let's start with this year. Do you think he can play a serviceable left field?
Yeah, I think he can. I think he'll get more comfortable. First of all, left field is the most difficult outfield to play in the big league, not other places, but in the big league. Because you got these big right-handed hitters that are coming up, and they're hooking the ball on you. And I want to tell you, there's some action on that ball in left field. Right field was the easiest. That's why they stuck me out there for so many years. And then center field, of course, you logged the most miles. I think I ran to Saskatchewan and back that 1 year I played center field. It's like,
So if we got you a walker that had wheels on the front and the tennis balls on the back legs, could you play center then?
Yeah, so that's what put me in that walker.
So how about this? How about serious question? When you see the right-handed hitter hook that ball into left, is it because he was out in front and actually hit the outside of the pitch to impart spin on it?
Well, yeah, that's probably they're hitting more to the outside of the ball to put that slider spin on it. But it's just a short spin on it, and it bites. And Altuve, as you know, is a left-handed glove, and that ball will come in, and you'll see sometimes where it'll handcuff them. Sometimes, that's how hard they hit the ball out there. And the only good thing about it is he's probably, first of all, going to learn to. He'll play the wall quite adequately. I mean, balls hit over his head probably 9 out of 10 times because he's not going to jump and catch a lot of balls.
He jumps up to the second level of the scoreboard out there,
But I think he'll do a good job. And I think what he's doing, and I applaud him. I was talking to Jose Cruz last night at the game, and I brought up Altuve. And said, well, what's the deal? And he mentioned, he says he's doing it for the team because he knows that it's the best thing for the team, and he's willing to do it. So it's not like, okay, I can't make the play at second base anymore. I mean, obviously they played him at second the other night, and in talking about that game last night, the UHV game that was played at Houston Christian University. You know, I applaud Jonathan Stabenow. He is one of the finest people. He let me manage that whole game last night. We won 8-0.
Wow.
I'm kidding. You know, I was just there.
Well, I was going to say, and I've heard other people say it too, and hats off to you on this, that a lot of guys that in some of our listeners didn't know, but we knew for a while that you had talked about retiring, and a lot of guys could have mailed it in and taken a victory lap and said goodbye. You did not in any fashion leave the UHV cupboard bare, and Stabenow inherited quite a ball club, and he's done a great job with it, not taking one thing away from Jonathan, because I think he's a fantastic skipper. But he had some tools in his bag when he showed up, and hats off to you for that.
Well, that's part of being having a quality program, and that also hats off to Ash and I, for getting after and bringing Jonathan in, and that's he's turned out to be. He's a smart guy.
Yeah,
but more importantly, he's a good Christian man, and he's doing what's right. But he's always going to do what's right for the UHB program first, baseball program, and that's the sign of a winning manager.
Yes, sir.
Like playing favorites or anything. They're fine team, but their pitching staff is that's a salty pitching staff he's got there right now.
We're excited about the future of the Brady Parker kid. He just, when you've got a lefty that's tall and rangy like that, he's got a beautiful fluid motion. He throws it in the 90s. It's impressive to watch. I thought about you last night or night before when it was last night. Caratini came up and got a hit, and Callis employed he's a professional hitter. The old what they used to say about Michael Brantley, yes. He's a professional hitter.
We got a question for you from one of our listeners. Jonathan William asked, how would you have liked the torpedo bat?
Well, we talked about that. Chael and I talked about that torpedo bat last night. It's brilliant, actually, if you think about it. The bat is shaved down at the very end of the bat. Okay, so it's shaved down, which then brings the sweet spot up higher. And I started thinking about how many balls I hit that were closer to the label than to the sweet spot. And I would say, probably 70-80% of the balls that I hit were closer to the label than they were to the sweet spot on the bat. And so, why did we not think about this?
Do you think Major League Baseball will outlaw it?
No, I don't think so. I think everybody's using it. It's like what I understand, Lindor and Soto are already using the bat.
The other night, Aaron Judge had.
Yeah, I know. But Aaron Judge is going to hit 3 home runs. He's throwing balls over the plate at 88 miles an hour. He's going to deposit them with any bat.
That was one of the comments, that he had 4 home runs in 3 games, and it's got to be something to do with the bat because he's never shown any power before.
Yeah, it's like, he can miss a ball. Apparently, the wind was blown out of Yankee Stadium, and it's like, for him, he can hit almost a foul ball and hook it around that right field pole.
As the father of a select ball kid, I know what's coming. We're going to start seeing the Maruki aluminum drop 5 torpedo bat.
You're going to pay $600.
Yeah, it's coming
Absolutely.
for sure. It is coming for sure.
Well, the interesting thing with these wooden bats, and I wasn't paying attention at the start of the year, and I did a little research on them, but the way they shave these, each player has his own torpedo bat. I mean, everybody used to kind of have their own handle size and things like that, but now they're shaving the end of this bat to each player. I mean, it's even more tailor-made than the custom bats that
just
that
raise the mound, raise the mound back up, and let's go.
Baseball is always looking for the edge. It's like, wherever there is money, people are looking for an edge. You can look at it in the market the same way. Where people can make money, they always think they're going to find the edge, and then they're going to sell subscriptions to it.
Well, do you think this is a result? Yeah, absolutely. That's the way to make money these days. We got to figure out how to get people to subscribe to this show. Do you think that maybe this is a little bit of a response to last year and the offensive numbers being so terrible with batting averages down and home runs not where they wanted them to be?
Yeah, who knows what the reason is? It might have been just some young, Yankee employee that just tried it and the players liked it. That's what you got to do. It doesn't matter what you do. If the players don't like the product, they're not going to use it.
True.
It helps if you believe in it. If you believe in it,
Yeah.
it helps. BJ Nelson says bat talk, almost as interesting as purses. If we could talk to Louis Vuitton, we would, but we're talking about Astros Hall of Famer Terry
Yeah,
Poole,
the Louis Vuitton of right
who
field
knows a little bit about
Probably
bats.
more important as well than Louis Vuitton.
Right, absolutely more important than Louis. Terry Poole could whoop Louis Vuitton. I'm just saying.
Especially
So-
with that shaved bat.
So will the Astros make the playoffs this year?
Yes.
I think so. I don't see any reason. That pitching staff has actually been pretty good. And that's the key over a long haul. If you have bad pitching, you have no chance to make the playoffs, or you better score a ton of runs. And we're not exactly.
We're not scoring
doing that.
runs. we out
I think
here.
Altuve is leading the team with a 378 average. Everybody else is below the Mendoza line, it seems, in that lineup.
Yeah.
Even Jordan's not even hitting 100 right now.
And like I said, going back to him, his is a simple fix. You stop swinging out of the strike zone, and you start taking some walks, and you know what? And Christian Walker hits behind you.
Yep.
They'll start pitching to you, but that's life in the big leagues. When
Yeah.
you're the big dog, they're not. Why would they lose to Alvarez now? Why would you?
That's right. You,
I mean,
you would rather
Buster-
take your
Buster-
chances, especially
Yeah,
when
Buster
Alvarez is the
Posey.
only lefty in the lineup.
Yeah, Buster Posey is in the suite, calling down to his manager saying, if you throw a strike, to Alvarez in this series, you can walk back to center.
Right. How about Buster Posey, just a couple of years removed from being behind the plate for the Giants and now running all their baseball operations?
I don't know him at all, but that takes a few brain cells, first of all, because being the general manager, or I don't know, maybe he's not the general manager, but there's a lot of key dates that have to be watched, and of course, figuring out how to do a salary structure with but then the Giants, they've been trying to give away $600 million to one player for about 2-3 years now,
Yeah.
haven't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he's actually president of baseball operations. I think that's
Oh,
his
there you
turn. And that's a problem. If I put a guy like you in charge of the Astros payroll, it would skyrocket exponentially. You'd be like, yeah, you deserve that. You've got 2 kids here. Here's another 10 million. I know you've told the story about flying on the plane next to the guy that had to determine your salary and how you told him, hey, you better come correct in the spring. I like it. Yeah. Who was your GM?
My agent?
No, your GM.
You're talking about Al Rosen, the one I signed with.
Yeah, I thought you had to.
That we went to a dinner at the first 4-year contract. I went to a dinner at Don Sanders, who was a minority owner. I've been friends with Don for many years, but went to his house, and always, it would always be Don, Jackie, myself. We'd always sit like that wherever we went, every meal that we went out. Well, at this particular one, Al Rosen was there, and he'd been just hired by the Astros like 3 or 4 days ago. And we're at this, and Jackie pops down next to Al Rosen, and Don looks across the table and says, "What are you doing?" And she says, "Well, I'm just going to sit here tonight." 4 days later, we signed a 4-year contract.
Nice. She's been bringing value to you and your family as long as. Hey, yes, sir.
Yeah, she's a sweetheart.
Give me some too early in the year. Give us some predictions. Who's going to win the National League? What do you see? I know you're a huge Dodgers fan. Always have been.
Well, yeah, absolutely. I think the Dodgers will go undefeated this year.
Hey, I did make the comment. I don't care if he had a torpedo, that he could actually launch, Dusty Baker would still take the day off if J.R. Richard was on the bump.
I know. So it's almost the entire, Steve Garvey, Ron Say. It didn't matter. The only person that would be in the lineup when JR would pitch was Davey Lopes.
He wasn't scared of anything, was he?
Well, I don't know if he was scared. He was probably not as intelligent.
He didn't know any better.
I always liked that when
Actually, in Dave's defense, he came over to the Astros and he was the right-handed pinch hitter and I was the left-handed pitcher. And we used to sit together during the game, and his knowledge of the game was off the charts. I mean, he was brilliant. I don't know why he never became a manager.
I loved though when Dusty Baker at one time had said in an interview, with thank you Robert Ford, and he was talking to Robert Ford and he said, "Yeah, we had players on the Dodgers that would sit it out, when J.R. Richard was on the mound, and then we had you on the next day, and you said, don't let him kid you. I saw him sit it out too." I don't blame him. He and JR was something to see.
Yeah, a lot of guys took it off when Bob Gibson pitched too.
Oh, I loved it when Gibson told a hitter once. He goes, "You think I was throwing at you? You don't think I'd have hit you if I was throwing at you?" I love it, man.
People think that the reason they didn't face him is because they couldn't hit him. That wasn't. They just wanted to survive and play again. Because if they ever got hit by him, they'd kill him.
Great stuff.
No, that's exactly it.
You doing good? Your family's well?
Yeah, we're doing okay. We're in the tail end of the school year here. I'm going to a volleyball game, a softball game, and a baseball game, probably all in the same day.
Sure. Wear the orange blazer.
It gets you in for free.
Just
I'm wearing the orange blazer this Friday. Madison, our middle granddaughter, is Second Baptist, is touring Dyken Field, whatever you call it now, and so I'm going over there, and I'm going to perch myself at a table. I got the Astros to do this for me. At a table outside the Crawford boxes where my mural is, and I'm going to, when the kids come through there, I'm going to sign a baseball card to them.
That's super nice.
I did that with Kylie, who is 3 years older, her group. But the times are getting a little tougher. That time I supplied baseballs. This time I'm just doing baseball.
Just a Sharpie.
Well, it's those tariffs on the baseballs that are jacking that price up now.
I tell you what, you can ask Dawn every time we go to now Dyken Park. Every time we go, the boys and Dawn and I, we make a pilgrimage out to left field, and we give the Terry Poole plaque. We give it a high five, and
you say a prayer.
Yeah, for you always, sir. Folks,
and then take their picture with the Jose Cruz mural.
Yeah, then everybody goes, look, Nolan Ryan. It's Nolan Ryan.
Well, he's right next to me. I saw Chael last night at the game, and I said that you've been out at our photos recently. He just laughed.
I tell you what, he's great memories.
Are the Padres for real? They're undefeated so far.
Yeah.
They might be 161-1 by the end of the year.
Well, if they stay healthy, they're tough. They're right. They've got some other guys besides Tatis and Machado and the shortstop. Anyways, but they have a couple guys that they brought in, that center fielder, that left-handed hitter. They got some guys that can hit, but they got to stay healthy. They don't have the depth the Dodgers.
Well, that's true. Yeah, they don't. What about the American League? Who do you think is going to win the American League? You think the Yankees are going to run away with it again?
I don't think so.
No,
I don't think so. I think that this is going to be a heck of a dogfight. You can't count out Baltimore. They're a good team. You got to go back to pitching, which kind of eliminates Toronto and maybe even.
Hey, the Canadians listening aren't going to like that because they're all excited about the Blue Jays and their 4-2 start because they thought they'd be 0-6 by now.
Well, that Joe Carter, when you need him, he's there. So, hey, Skip, we always appreciate your time. Thank you so much for calling in. And
did the Astros win the division, or did the Astros get a wild card this year?
I'm an Astro thick and thin, and so Astros win. They always win.
There we go.
Yeah.
And we appreciate you. Pass along our appreciation to Miss Jackie for all she does and for letting you come play with us. And thank you so much, sir. Stay healthy. And hey, get that shoulder scoped. And I've got a spot for you after the All-Star break.
No. Okay.
Be well,
Really
sir.
fun being with you guys. Okay.
Thanks, Terry.
Bye-bye.
Appreciate you. Terry Poole, Astros Hall of Famer, right fielder extraordinaire,
Cannot
center fielder broke him down.
the kid in me cannot overemphasize his genuine love for the game of baseball and how approachable he is. Terry Poole is the guy. Part of it is being Canadian. I'm not being sarcastic here, but Terry Poole is the guy that could be at dinner in an expensive restaurant. And if a kid came over and said, Mr. Poole, Terry's the kind of guy who might put the kid up on his lap, feed him a bite of steak, and sign his baseball and send him back to his table. He's just
Sirloin, not a ribeye. Or
right. No, he would
T-bone.
probably be eating chicken these days, maybe some broiled fish. But just one of the true great gentlemen of the game of baseball who played as tough and as hard as anybody I've ever seen. So he had that long conversation with Nolan Ryan. He saved one of Ryan's no-hitters. Terry said, I wasn't the fastest guy, but I just had a feeling, and I got a great jump on a ball, and I caught it at the wall. And after the game, they had that famous interaction where Nolan Ryan walked over and said, TP, nice catch, and then walked off. It's just, that was a lot from Nolan back then. That was a lot. Liberation Day, tell us about it.
Well, I think today's the day isn't that the day where you're no longer paying taxes?
Right. Terry, you got to be, I guess, complimentary to Cory Booker, Senator Cory Booker, for pontificating for 20 hours straight, basically to hamstring the process in D.C. The filibuster just went on. It broke the record for the longest speech on the Senate floor as he criticized the Trump administration's broad policy changes in a talk lasting 25 hours and 5 minutes.
Nobody did that on the Republican side when Joe Biden went and did all of his executive orders and policy changes on day one because they were, I don't know exactly why. Maybe they should have, but I don't believe so.
The Democrats weren't about getting anything done under Biden, and all they are about now is making sure Trump gets nothing done. Look, special moment, folks. Thank you. BJ Nelson doesn't love baseball. Thank you, White Trash Services, for providing this forum and giving us the opportunity to talk baseball with a Hall of Famer. Thank you, Atzenhofer, Brand Us, Wentz Services, Chesnick.
No, I thought it was Tax Liberation Day. It's Liberation Day for Trump and his tariffs today.
Oh yeah, he's gonna have a talk today from like the Rose Garden.
Yeah, at 4 o'clock, I think Eastern. That's the Liberation Day.
Get by Chopping Block today for all your beef needs. They've also got stuffed chicken, boudin,
and
sausages.
Today's Wacky Wing Wednesday.
Yeah, get by and get the wings. Yeah. Folks, we appreciate all of you. Sorry for the technical glitch. Mark Kurtz, I agree. It's always great to hear Mr. Poole on the show. Thanks a lot. Have a great day. We love you guys. Be safe on the highways.
We'll see you all mañana.
We'll talk to you tomorrow.
Bye, folks.
Bye, folks.